in a world awash in uncertainty.
That makes me
Are you
so
triggered?
confused. I am very triggered.
I almost said Bryan Adams.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Bryan
You can thank
Adams.
Bryan Adams, too.
Straight
I
from
get
the
it.
heart.
And we're gonna take it to the McMahons.
But Sinbad apparently never made a Shazam movie.
What?
Uranus.
I just wouldn't notice.
Two brave heroes take on all things action.
Hi guys, welcome to another great edition of All Things Action Video Cast. As always, I am Dad, aka Aaron. With me this week is
Samaya. And Raiden.
And Kyle, again, my third visit. Thank you for having me back, Aaron.
That's right,
Samaya,
dude.
And Raiden, of course.
Are you guys excited?
Yeah,
Wow.
this is probably one of the most people we have had on the show at the same time. Because
Yeah.
we have had me, you, and Samaya, but we haven't had me, you, Samaya, and Kyle.
You three have been on a few times. I think Samaya's friends were on once. There was three.
Yeah.
And so I think three's been the max so far, but we're cramming
That's
them
right.
pretty
We
hard.
finally did it.
Sardines.
We broke the fourth wall, right?
Literally and
Literally and
figuratively.
figuratively. So,
We've done it.
well, guys, welcome to the show. It's another great week for All Things Action. The kids are super excited to have Kyle in the building. He's somewhat of a celebrity around here. If you guys have not heard Kyle's podcast, Knowledge from the Couch podcast, you need to go find it. Kyle, real quick, let them know where they can find it at.
Okay, so I guess we're getting plugs
That's
done
right.
at the beginning of the show.
And we'll
So,
do the end.
At the end, I'm going to bookend where you can find it. So, if you recognize my voice, and it's really funny, I had a person talk to me at my work who recognized my voice and asked me if I had a podcast. I'm like, that's the strangest thing ever, because I didn't know this person. I was like, oh, yeah, I do. So if you recognize this voice, then you'll know that I do a history podcast called the Knowledge from the Couch podcast, and you can find it anywhere podcasts can be found, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Overcast, anything, Spotify, even nowadays does podcasts. You can find it on there. You can find it on there. It's a history podcast. It covers a great matter of subject variety, from Columbus to, most recently, I talked about the Hawaiian Islands. I've talked about everything in between that you can think of. So I found it best, especially if you want to jump into the podcast. Just last month, I did a sort of best of sort of thing for the last year. I've been doing this podcast for about a year now. And with that, you can look at the episodes that I've got the most traction on, the most downloads, and they're the most popular ones. And if you want a taste of what the podcast is about, jump into one of those and then check out the back catalog for the rest of it. There's a story for everybody in there, I feel like. And yeah, 45 episodes now, going strong. We're near 50. I didn't believe I'd ever do even 10 of them. So
That's right.
50 of them now, almost. And yeah, you can find that podcast anywhere else. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, the whole shebang. We'll talk about it at the end of the show. I'll plug it more specifically. But that's where I'm from. That's what I do. And I'm going to have Aaron on fairly soon once I get the setup on. We'll talk
Awesome.
in a history setting. It'll be interesting.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Can't wait.
Feels great.
Feels great. Yeah, feels great. Can't wait. As
So-
Bart would say.
So we, Kyle kind of goes into history. We kind of look into the
Into
crystal
everything.
ball sometimes and talk about the future,
Little
right?
divination.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's what we'll kind of touch on today, guys. I thought we'd do a little bit of I don't know if you want to call it like being a general manager or being a producer of a movie. But there's a lot of moving parts going on right now. Obviously, Kyle, the DC extended universe is, even though they're deep into throwing all sorts of money and all sorts of time into some of the characters, they've decided to kind of scrap at least the Justice League part of it, right?
It wouldn't be DC, I don't think, unless they did something like that. That's just,
Right.
unfortunately, endemic of the DC Comics movie brand. You have independent stuff that's good, you have stuff here and there, and then you try to build this, like, and Aaron and I talked about this, if you want to go back and watched the episodes that we were in together, the two of us, we talked about the same sort of stuff where DC is very reactionary to Marvel, and it continues to this day because you could see it felt like there was traction and something was happening, and they wanted to build a universe, and then they're like, you know what, it's over now. I mean, we'll just do whatever we feel like now. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess so. I mean, if Wonder Woman's the best thing you got, then I guess it's the best thing that you have. So.
Well, and I think I think we've elaborated on kind of what my thoughts are, but today was the day that they dropped the Aquaman 5-minute trailer.
Oh, I didn't
extended
see it.
trailer.
I didn't see it.
And we'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. They've got Shazam coming out. They have big plans for. They're still moving forward with the Batman movie. With
a new Batman in tow, I'm assuming, because Batfleck is
correct.
Done
so
with.
Obviously, last week we kind of touched on that Cavill and Affleck sound like they are Gonzville at this point.
I know. I saw your episode. Raiden was heartbroken.
He was
about Henry.
That
Henry
was
Cavill
a rough one. That was
and
a
Ben
rough
Affleck
one.
deciding to hang up the boxing gloves. There's a boxing gloves off screen over there that I'm looking at. Hang up the gloves in the metaphor to. And, it's one of those things where sometimes with those actors, the writing's on the wall where they feel like they've done enough and they're done with it. Sometimes the opportunity just doesn't work out for the other work that they have. It's like, because with the whole mustache thing that Henry Cavill had, during Justice League with the weird lip, it's because he was in Mission Impossible, the new Mission Impossible, where he had a goatee and a beard and stuff. Right. So they had to. It was one of those things where I think Henry Cavill's become enough of a star that he's busy and he gets offers, and it just probably didn't feel like it worked with his schedule or anything anymore. So
that's
tough to say.
That particular mustache gate is kind of interesting because when you first looked at it, you thought, how did Warner Brothers not? I mean, you're talking about Superman. He's an icon. He does not have facial hair for the most part.
Yeah.
And like, how did they not just shave him for that? And then you come to find out, like, oh wait, the Mission Impossible role was a way bigger role for him than him as Superman. So no wonder he or whoever was like, "No, we're good. We're just gonna leave it on. You guys figure it out."
Yeah. And you never know with Hollywood contracts and stuff. It's like you got to be this, that, and it's all written out in the contract. So it could have been like, "Hey, you got to look like this for the duration of the filming." And then when he got a call back to film,
and that's basically what it was.
Justice League, he's like, I can't.
I can't. Whedon said, okay, well, I got to scrap half this movie, so you got to come back. And he went, I'm deep into this, and I've signed a contract that says I can't shave this stupid mustache off. Sorry,
yeah.
And so they said, oh, we'll figure it out, and then it was what it was.
It was what it was.
So we kind of talked during that episode, and we never really got much traction on it. And you weren't there either.
No.
So I thought I'd get your feelings, both you guys, on if you were to cast for the next films, who would be your Superman? Who would be your Batman? I mean, there's tons of talent out there. Maybe it's somebody who's already played the role in some fashion. Like, for me, I don't remember who I said in that episode, but they were talking about Ralph, the guy who plays the Atom right now on the CW
well,
shows.
he played Superman in Superman Returns years ago.
Brandon Ralph.
Brandon Ralph, yeah.
And I got to thinking about it. It's like, that would be the most ballsy player move to bring him back and say, this is part of a multiverse. I mean,
this is Superman from whatever Earth.
What a better way for the Flash movie to tie in a multiverse, to have Brandon Ralph come back as Superman, and you just act like nothing ever happened.
Like this is like Earth 3 Superman, like that's him, and he comes in and does like, oh, I guess this is our guy now, or whatever. So
I guess for me,
I can see that.
After kind of thinking about it, it's like, that would be a hell of a
I
way
always
to
forget how into the multiverse the DC universe can really get. And I always forget about it, but it's like the best thing about the DC universe.
It's endless.
Like, it's the best part
Whatever
of it.
you
All
wanna
the
do.
best stories of DC, like Flashpoint and others, like happen because of the multitude of the universes in DC. Marvel doesn't do it near as well as DC does. If there's one thing that DC can do well, I would say that's one of them. I don't know. It's tough to say.
What do you think, Samaya? You got a certain actor?
I wouldn't have gotten rid of the other guys if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
That's a good opinion. I mean, that's the thing. It's really tough to know if it's his call or if it's someone else's call. Or a combination of the two where there was something where he couldn't come to an agreement, and it's like, well, I guess I'm just going to be done with it.
And with Affleck, it always seemed like he was kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And it I guess Snyder has said in the past week that if he would have been able to stay on Justice League 2, they would have actually killed off Ben Affleck's
Batman.
Bruce Wayne.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
so it's one of those things where it's like, then you appease everything because Ben Affleck doesn't necessarily want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
But this is a great way to make him a martyr and to give him something else. And
Batman in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You can introduce Nightwing. You can introduce, maybe you go the Batman Beyond route.
That's something I was going to bring up because I think you've probably seen it too. But like Batman Beyond is a super cool like DC cartoon if you haven't seen it from like the Batman the animated series time in like the 90s into the 2000s, and it's about an old Batman, Bruce Wayne, and then Terry McGinnis, who plays the new Batman Beyond with the red bat and everything.
Yep.
And somebody was telling me that there was an idea floating out there to make a Batman Beyond with Michael Keaton reprising his role as Batman as an old, because he looks like him now, like in the show, he's like old, gray haired, kind of short, and it's like and we saw how good he can be as the Vulture in Spider-Man. It's like bring him in as old Batman, and then you can bring any like young handsome star. It doesn't care. There are a dime a dozen in Hollywood. You bring as some young handsome guy to play Terry McGinnis or Tim Drake, whichever one you want to do as the new Batman.
Yeah, you can go
and just do it that way, and then have him become like the Batman of the universe. You know, you could do that too. I don't know. There's a lot of cool ideas, but it's DC, so they're gonna screw it up.
So do you have any actor in mind for Superman or Batman? I mean, or is it more or less like, I don't care who it is, it just has to be a good story?
I think that's the best part, because you can make, especially Superman, you can make Superman anybody and make it a good story. Mm-hmm. Christopher Reeve was a good story. Yeah. Brandon Routh was a good story. Henry Cavill was a good story. And they all seemed like they were Superman. They all seemed like they were Clark Kent. Right. So you can find, it's weird to say, you got to kind of find the square-jawed, American, handsome American man to play Superman. It seems kind of like, well, Henry Cavill's not American, he's British, but that kind of stereotype. And actually, Zachary Levi, who plays Shazam, the new one, I think he would have been probably a really good pick too, because he has the same sort of look. But Shazam has that sort of look too, because it's that same sort of, beefy adult, superhero guy who's the hero, not the villain. So he probably would have been a really good choice had he not got cast for something else, So tough to say. I don't know if I have a good pick. I think it would be, I think I would trust whoever gets cast. I think it would be an easier job to cast a Superman than it is to cast a new Batman. I think Batman's a harder role.
I think so too.
To play.
I think so too. But I think that, in my heart of hearts, I hope that they're saying, Warner Brothers and DC are saying, like, we're going to shelve this whole multiverse thing or extended universe thing, and we're going to focus on individual films, because I think at the heart of it, think about how many comic books are out there day in and day out, and they go completely different directions, and so there's canon, but there's no canon.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where you really could have a standalone Joker movie that has absolutely nothing to do with anything else, and it never will. But at the same time, they could always allude, like, hey,
maybe it will.
The multiverse is out there. You never know.
Yep, maybe it will.
That's what's kind of cool about Gods Among Us and stuff like that. You could have multiple Jokers. Yeah. You could have multiple Batmans in the same movie.
I think that's what DC is going to try to end up doing is instead of just going full blown Marvel, we have a plan, we have a script, we have like a storyboard that says this is what we're doing. They'll just throw stuff at the wall to see what sticks. Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
Like if Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is really good,
then he's your Joker.
Now it's like, we can bring him in whenever we feel like it. If it's not great or if he doesn't want to, we don't have to, So,
exactly. I think that's where they got gun shy with the whole Suicide Squad thing was. I thought Leto did a great job as the Joker. I thought it was a good fresh take on the role, and he's a great method actor. but for some reason, the general public just did not embrace him as the Joker. And so they went, oh, crap, what are we going to do now? Because
it's tough to follow.
We just had
Heath
him go.
Ledger.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
the tough.
I
That's
know.
the tough part.
But I think Phoenix is going to probably do it. So
Yeah. I
Cool
think so
Bear?
too.
Is this as exciting as you thought it was going to be?
No, because we normally don't, like, we don't have a certain amount of time, and normally we only take, like, 1 or 2 minutes, and now it's, like,
Yeah.
Well, that's what's
a
fun.
few-
You can actually elaborate on things here, right? You got 2 adults that are able to, think about things further than I like candy, right? Yeah. So the other big news this week, guys, was another departure, and Raiden and I talked to you about this, I think, yesterday. Chris Evans has officially signed off as Captain America.
I saw that.
So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. If I kind of hope that it's one of those things where he's like, I'm getting too old for this shit, and he just like walks off. Him and
he's
him
done.
and Sam Jackson just go, yeah, we're done, we're old, we don't need to do this anymore. And I could see maybe Hawkeye doing it as well. Like maybe they just have a trope of guys who are just like, it's time to
Hand
pass
it off
the
to
mantle.
the new people.
Yeah.
Yep.
So 2-part question, guys. Who's going to be the new Captain America if it's an already in place person from the DC universe or from the Marvel universe? And if not, if they're going to actually just recast, who are they recasting as Steve Rogers?
I already
Raiden?
know someone that I want to be Captain America, but not Lenny, because I've been wanting Falcon to
Very obvious choice, yes.
It's a good pick. It's a good pick.
take Captain America's shield
Right.
stuff.
And
Yeah.
and in the comic books he became Captain America
Yeah,
for a
that-
time, right?
That's why I want
Yeah.
that. To me, that just makes sense because I've read the comic.
Yeah.
So
Samaya, what
to me,
about
that
you?
makes sense.
Well, I know that there's like a comic where they have like an African American Captain America.
Mhm.
I think that'd be pretty cool to see.
Yeah, so probably Falcon again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Kyle?
That's a pretty good idea because I don't think. I mean, you can pass the mantle off, but I really don't think that they're gonna recast like a new Steve Rogers. Like Steve Rogers is done
The
when
story
Chris
of Steve,
Evans
yes.
is done.
Yep.
So they could give it to like Falcon, Sam, whose name
Right.
escapes me now. He can take it. Bucky could take it. The Winter Soldier could. His redemption arc. He becomes less of a villain
Yep.
and more of a good guy.
And he did take over for a period of time in the comics as well. So
Yeah, so there's that, I mean, it's kind of strange because now that you have Black Panther in it, Black Panther and Captain America interact a lot in the comic books too, so you almost kind of want to have a Captain America to balance off, what Black Panther does as well. So it'll be interesting to see if they just say, Captain America is over, this is the end of Captain America, or, Steve, Rogers says, I'm done, Sam, you're Captain America now, and he goes,
Right.
okay, and becomes like the red, white, and blue, Falcon. So I think that would be pretty cool.
And gets a shield.
And gets the shield, but he still has like the wings and stuff, so he
Yeah.
can still like fly and do like Falcon stuff.
Yeah,
but
but still
in a
have-
Captain America way, right?
Yeah, because I think that would be a really good choice because you have Falcon. He just is a complete good character, and I think that the shield will come in handy in battle.
sure.
With Falcon.
Well, it's iconic as well.
Yeah.
You don't want to just get rid of the shield, right?
Yeah, because you basically made something out of titanium something?
Adamantium,
Vibranium.
vibranium, depending on which. If you're an X-Men fan or not.
Yeah, vibranium is the purest metal,
Yeah.
and then adamantium is like
The synthesized.
like somebody
Yeah.
tried to make vibranium, but they messed
Yeah.
up, so they made adamantium because it's heavy. So like, well, it's pretty tough and strong, but it's not like light.
Yeah.
So you can't throw it like a shield, but you can put it on like Wolverine's skeleton, and he becomes like the Wolverine, and then it's pretty cool. So.
Okay, one-word answer. Does Steve Rogers die in Avengers 4, or does he walk away?
Walk away from me.
Die.
I think he walks. I think he walks.
I think he dies.
Oh, 2-2.
No!
Yeah. We'll find out.
Raiden, I think he just walks into the sunset. And you and Maya think that he
I feel
ends up being killed.
I feel
I'm
like
with Raiden on this one.
it would be cooler for him to like, not like cooler, but like a better ending for him to just like die.
Like a
with purpose.
meaningful like
Yeah.
sacrifice or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
I actually kind of thought that was going to happen in the first
Oh,
Avengers
sure.
when he was facing off with Thanos. You know, when Thanos is like doing his thing and he grabs him and he's screaming in his face. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's pretty badass, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I thought that Thanos was going to do something to him, or I thought, sorry, spoilers, that when he snapped, that Steve would be one of the ones. Is he one of the ones? I can't remember now. I don't think he disappears.
All of
Is
the
he?
original Avengers are around.
But
Do they?
That's what,
Spider-Man
that's what makes it
dies?
interesting is all of the originals
We already gave
are
a
the ones that
spoiler.
are still around.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This will be that's the thing I want to see resolve the most, because I'm assuming they just went to some sort of like pocket universe probably, but it'll be fun to see like the way they resolve it, because you can't just, they're gonna make more movies. Obviously Spider-Man has another movie coming out, and
Right.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, and
Yeah,
their
but-
whole thing is going to continue, and
Yeah.
Captain Marvel, this, that, and the other thing. So
I have
There's a lot
a
of-
theory real quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
About the Spider-Man Far From Home.
Mm-hmm.
that's the new one, right?
Yes. So I think that like Thanos didn't kill him, but he like when he disappeared, you know, like he got like teleported or something into the place far from his home, and that's why it's called that. So he
Sure.
didn't die.
It's a
He's
double
trying
entendre.
to make his way back home.
Trying to figure
Back
it
to
out.
Queens.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean,
That's what I thought. Because, I mean, you can't kill Spider-Man that has only been in...
One movie, right?
Well,
1.5 movies, I guess.
yeah.
even though it's been like 6 movies, but yeah.
Well, I mean, this
When
Spider-Man's
you
only
were
been
Tom
in
Holland.
The Marvel Spider-Man,
Tom
yeah.
The
Holland.
new...
The Marvel
the
Spider-Man.
new Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Yeah.
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 Because Spider-Man has been...
He was in Infinity
Tobey Maguire
War.
will always hold a special place in my heart, though.
Some-
Especially with the new Venom movie now.
Well, and especially
You know.
because they're coming out in December with Spider-Man the Spider-Verse. Like,
Oh, the cartoon
Yeah.
with Miles
Yeah.
Morales and Peter
and so
Parker.
and so it's
all
one of
the-
those things where it's
the whole
like
family. Yeah.
again, there's the multiverse kind of thing popping up, and the whole Far From Home thing and multiple dimensions. This is a reoccurring theme because number one, whether you like it or not, people think that our universe has multiple dimensions,
Yeah.
and we can only just see the 3 dimensions. So it begs to say, like in comic books, when you have that many heroes, that many villains, you got to put them somewhere. And so we're going to put them in different dimensions. We're going to put them in different universes, and sometimes they collide. And when they do, it's epic, and we get to make $50 comic books because everybody wants to see it. So
Yeah.
pretty cool, right?
Yeah. And like we're in science today and our teacher was talking about multiverses.
Sure.
And my brain kind of just shut down.
It's
Yeah.
pretty tough to wrap your little human brain around the
Yeah.
multiverse theory, because when it comes down to it, the big chunk of that, and we're not even on comic books now, we're on like metaphysics, and it's like
Right.
the whole idea that there is an infinite amount of universes all happening at the same time. So there are an infinite amount of universes where we're all in it,
Right.
and there's an infinite amount of universes where only you are, and only you are, and only you are, and only I am, and an infinite amount of universes where none of us are,
Right.
and a combination, and it's just like, it's too much. It's so hard for the human brain, which is hardwired to think beginning, end,
Yep.
whatever's in between is in between, to think that there's, an infinite amount of copies of you
Yeah.
somewhere
Doing the same
doing
things,
the same or
doing
different stuff.
things, yeah. Raiden, somewhere out there, you're flying.
Yeah.
You have the
There's
power
a
to
universe
fly.
where you fly. There's a universe where I fly.
Yeah.
There's a universe where Smile's the Flash running around. There's a universe where there's like a girl version of me and like a girl version of your dad. And who knows? There's it's crazy to try to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
But in theory, maybe it is the way it is, and we're just in whatever one we're in.
That's
now.
right.
If there's a girl version of you, it would be me, and if there's
That's right.
a boy version of me, it'd be you.
You
Yeah,
just swap
pretty
out.
much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there's a version where you're the older sibling and you're the younger one,
Oh.
and vice versa. Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
That would be
So
nice.
Yeah, it's funny stuff, right?
Yeah.
So
that I could.
we
Finally, to be the older brother. Finally.
I was gonna talk a little bit about Aquaman, but I know like I'm the only one who's seen the actual Comic-Con trailer. Maybe at some point we can watch that and we can talk about it, just to get you guys' thoughts. Are we excited about Aquaman?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe.
They showed the new armor. I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was into that.
Yeah.
Maybe
So
you guys could, do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or you just watch on your own. But yeah, you're excited about Aquaman?
Yeah, because
I
it's finally.
I'm excited about Aquaman. I mean, Jason Momoa being Aquaman doesn't really make, to me, like,
Yeah.
you could cast better, but you could also cast way worse.
Yeah.
They're trying to get people who actually put butts in seats, and
Yep.
he's a handsome man. So he's going to get some women to get their butts in the seats, right?
That's right.
I thought that the guy on your beer can was a merman.
Yeah.
Maybe he is. You can't see his bottom half, can you?
True.
You
All right.
can't.
So final thing we'll get out here on this one here, guys, is Venom is out this weekend.
Yay!
And hopefully by the time this releases, we will have went and seen it.
Yeah.
Number one, it sounds like critically it's not necessarily the strongest comic book movie out there. But number two, it's in its first day it made like, I can't remember, 10 million or something like that, which was projected way. It was way lower than that projection wise.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually trending very well right now.
So they made more than they thought.
Yeah,
it was
they
gonna.
said
Okay.
regardless of what critics think, people are still going to go out
Gonna
and
come
see
and
this
see
movie.
it. Yeah.
So
Tom
I guess,
Hardy can carry a movie.
yeah, and so I guess that's my question for you, Kyle. I know Raiden. I know his answer. He's excited.
We'll get his answer last.
Yeah, exactly.
To bookend it.
Are you excited about Venom? Are you excited about the prospect of Sony trying to build a anti-hero universe? Because that will be pretty much all they have left as far as things that they can kind of work with.
Yeah, they've given all the rest of them away, haven't
Yeah.
they, to Marvel? They gave Spider-Man away, which is the...
Well, and their next big one is Mobius, starring
Okay.
Jared Leto.
What's
Really?
Mobius?
Well, at least
he's
they
a
finally
dark
picked
sorcerer,
Jared Leto up
who's
again
part
to
of
be
the
an
Spider-Man
actor.
universe. So.
Interesting.
Ooh.
You know what? I'm only interested in seeing it because I want to see a different, I guess, way to do Venom. I just want to see it because we've only seen it on the big screen once. We saw Venom in Spider-Man 3
Right.
way back in 2007, I think
Topher
was when that
Grace,
was.
yep.
Topher Grace was Brock, Eddie Brock, and he played Venom, and Tobey Maguire was Spider-Man, and he got the symbiote first. So he gets a symbiote, he becomes Black Spider-Man. He becomes evil because you can tell he's evil because he puts his hair in front of his face. He becomes emo evil, Toby. And so he does his thing, but then he hates the symbiote because it makes him feel not like himself. So he gets rid of it. The bell rings, whatever. Eddie Brock just happens to be in the neighborhood. It gets on him. He turns into Venom, and then you see like what Venom is like in that movie, which is interesting. It wasn't really that good, I don't think, but it was the worst of the 3 Spider-Man movies that he was in.
Right.
But it was what it was. So I'm interested to see like what it looks like, the way they do him like on the movie screen. Like,
Right.
What's it gonna look like? It seems cool. Tom Hardy's cool. Like I like him a lot. I think he's a great actor. He's good in like everything he's in. So I'm just interested to see it, but I'm only a little interested to see it just because of that. I like Spider-Man. I want my Spider-Man. I need my Spider-Man with my Venom to go together. Like they just go together
Right.
like peas in a pod. Spider-Man
Yeah.
and Venom and Carnage. They all are not buddies, obviously, but they all go together in the universe. That's
Yes.
what I want to see. I want to see. And I don't think he's in this movie. I haven't read anything. I don't have spoilers. I don't think he's in it though. So
Right. We're gonna find
I don't
out,
know.
right?
We're gonna find out. I
What
suppose.
about you, Samaya?
I'm excited.
Yeah. What part of the movie excites you? Is it the casting? Is it the story? That you probably don't know hardly anything about this, right?
No,
Yeah.
I just want to see it.
Yeah.
See what it's about.
Yeah.
It should be a good day
I think-
at the movies. I think.
Yeah, I think that for me, the thing that I'm excited about, and I think you were kind of alluding to that too, was in Spider-Man 3, they never really addressed the physical stature and the power, the raw power of Venom and the other symbiotes. And it's like the first time we saw Hardy and, it transforms over the top of him, you're like, oh, shit, he's got muscles? he's got lats, he's got traps, he's got tries, he's got
huge.
buys.
He's
Like
huge.
he looks
Jacked.
like a monster.
Yeah.
And so I feel like they really captured that. And I mean, Tom Hardy, for my money, I actually feel like his best roles are actually ones where he's not a comic book character.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the fact that a high level actor is always all in to play whatever they give him.
Yeah, he's a straight up nerd. He was in Star Trek years ago.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
And-
he'll do roles like this.
And so I think it's one of those things where he, the prospect of seeing him kind of do what he did with The Dark Knight Returns in the Marvel or Sony universe, it should be good. And that's the thing. Somebody was talking about
As
it today.
Bane, I forgot he played Bane for just a second. Oh, Batman.
And so that's the thing. I had a conversation with a guy at work who went and saw the movie, and he didn't understand what spoilers are. So I finally told him,
which
"Hey,
movie?
dude,
The Dark Knight.
no, Venom."
Venom. Oh,
I'm like, "Shut up! I want to go see this stupid movie." He's like, "Oh, sorry." And so I know something that you guys don't know, and I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, thank God.
yeah, no spoilers.
Thank
No
God.
spoilers for the newest movies here.
But the one thing that I said that I really liked about Hardy is he did the voice of Venom. And it doesn't sound like him.
Did he really?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
It doesn't sound like him. And I said, that's one thing that, like it or hate it, the one thing everybody remembers from The Dark Knight Rises is Bane's voice.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I mean, honestly, there's a lot of things, especially if you love that movie.
Yeah.
But if you just talk to somebody and they go, tell me about The Dark Knight Rises, they'll put their hand over their mouth and they'll go,
Oh, Batman!
"Oh, I live in the shadows." Like,
Or molded by Batman.
yeah. And so Tom Hardy again kind of used his acting chops, used his voice chops to really nail
To bring a character to life in
something.
his way.
Yeah. And so
A bunch of people molded in the darkness
I know.
over here.
apparently. Well, guys, did you have fun?
Yeah.
That's probably all that's fit to print for this edition of All Things Action
Yeah.
Videocast, right?
Half an hour long at least.
Hell yeah.
Pretty good.
Hell
Half
yeah.
half an hour and 2 minutes.
That's
Half
right.
an hour and 2 minutes.
So Kyle, one
Yeah.
more shameless plug. Where can they
It's
find you?
always
What do you
shameless.
got?
Knowledge from the Couch podcast. You can find it anywhere podcasts can be found. Follow me on Twitter at Kyle Steinhauser or the podcast at the Couch Pod. Patreon.com/Kyle has a podcast. If you'd like to support it there, I would love you if you did. I'll love you if you don't. Either way is fine with me. Search Knowledge from the Couch just in the Google search bar, and it will point you to wherever you need to go if you want to hear more of this, but not with my face, just my voice. That's it.
That's right.
That's all.
That's awesome, man.
That's it,
I love the podcast. I cannot believe you're already into season 3.
Yeah.
And it just keeps getting better and better, like we talked about earlier. So, congratulations on
Continuing
getting to
to do it.
season 3. And I know you probably feel like we do from time to time, where it's like, "Hello, is anybody out
you
there?"
feel like you shout into
Yeah,
the void.
Exactly.
You know, when I record my show, I look at a computer screen and talk about stuff, and sometimes I feel like I'm literally just talking to myself. So
Yep.
it's nice to hear when people do listen and get
Yes.
something from it. So
It's
for
always
sure.
value added, though. That's what I like about the show. It's like I'm damn near 40 years old, and there's things that you're teaching me on a regular basis, on a weekly basis, about the history of the world. And I mean, that's a huge thing. If you can teach someone who's young about it, great. But if you can teach someone who's old about it, because these guys are going to have questions someday, and I can look back on what you've talked about and say,
Yeah.
man, I know this because
That's right.
Because Kyle and Knowledge from the Couch podcast told me about it, and you're super factual. That's the
Yeah.
other part too. Is like I can tell you really go through everything with a fine-tooth comb, and you don't want to put anything out there that's any level of bullshit.
I try to disclaim myself when we get to the point where, because it's very conversational. I mean, how could it be conversational when I'm talking to myself? But it feels like that. Like when I do it, I kind of pretend like I'm doing now. I'm speaking to the faceless other voice on the other side of the camera, the people who aren't like us trapped inside a little camera box, those who are on the outside. And because of that, sometimes I'll accidentally start to voice my own opinion, because I do have opinions about stuff, and I'll try to disclaim before I go there, hey, by the way, this is my own thing, this is what I think, or I'm not smart enough or apt enough or whatever to judge a certain thing here, there, or everywhere. But when it comes to the historical facts, I try to do my very best to comb through and find what is factual, what is what it is, and then try to narrate and tell a story about something that is interesting. So, yeah. I think
Heck
so.
yeah. All right, buddy, you ready to get out of here?
Yeah.
Maya?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, guys, for All Things Action Video Cast, I'm Aaron, a.k.a. Dad, with me this week again.
Raiden, aka the bear.
Wow.
Just out of it.
Wow. Samaya.
No a.k.a.?
No.
All right, whatever.
I'm Kyle, a.k.a. Kyle, also.
That's
Still.
right. That's right, guys.
The same.
Also known as Kyle.
That
Also.
was the
Thank you guys for
knowledgeable
watching,
cat.
and we will see you next week. Until then, everyone have a great week. Bye.
Bye.
All right, we're good.
What is Kaya doing?
I'm doing thumbs up wheels. Thumbs up wheels.